Right there guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I want to cover off a couple of articles written on the Athletic site. One by Ornstein, one by James Pearce. They kind of cross over a little bit in regards to Mason Mount, but we'll get to that when I start doing that. But before I get to that, just want to put a little reminder out there to subscribe to the channel if you are new here. And if you ever are enjoying it, give the video a like and put a comment down below. I like to read all your comments in regards to what I've said in this video, and I'm quite interactive down there as well. So before we do anything else, let's get on with the Mason Mount stuff. So, Ornstein has written an article and he's touched on Mason Mount, basically saying that Todd Boehly has held talks with Mount on Friday last week, and basically just to reiterate that he sees him as an important member of the team and the club have a desire to keep him. Now, I know that Liverpool have held talks with Mason Mount's representation in January. Well, let me just reword that. I believe that Liverpool have held talks with Mason Mount's representatives in January, and I think that he would be up for the move to Liverpool. However, I've had the same opinion for the past couple of weeks now that if Chelsea was to offer him the amount of money he was after, then he would be a Chelsea player still going forward. And after these talks, the insiders apparently at Chelsea are saying that they see it as a positive development, and it's not out of the question now of Mason Mount staying. So the one thing we've got to keep in mind though with this is, now this is where James Pearce's article starts coming into this video, is that Chelsea have to sell players to make up for the money they've spent over the past year and a half, whatever it is, like 600 million or something, for financial fair play. And the one thing we've got to bear in mind is that he's a homegrown player and Liverpool need to sign some 100%, especially with the Ox going, Milner potentially leaving, Nat Phillips leaving, Kelleher, Joe Gomez. That's 5 there that could be sold. And then that's not even thinking about potentially loaning out Curtis Jones or Fabio Carvalho, these type of players that count as homegrown. We could be losing these or loaning them out. So we need to bring in English players to satisfy the quota. Now, there's other players at Chelsea that we have been linked with over the past few weeks where, Conor Gallagher, again, homegrown. I think the latest one was, is it Ben Colwill or something? Colwill? He's at Brighton, I think, on loan. He can play like left back and left centre back, and he's a player that's been linked with Liverpool. So just because we're talking to Chelsea about Mount doesn't mean we're not also asking about other players as well. So I'd keep an eye on them too, specifically. We were linked with Kovacic, I think, as well, but I feel like it would be more into the homegrown market at the moment than we would be with foreigners at the moment, if that makes sense. It says here as well that Chelsea are looking for an asking price of £70 million now. I wouldn't pay that for Mason Mount in his last year. Like, I think we paid 40 million or something for Oxlade-Chamberlain, so I'd probably go 50 for Mount, with the, what is it called now, inflation and everything like that. Prices do go up, so it's going to be more expensive than it will be to sign Ox, for instance. I kind of also think that Mason Mount fits the team a lot better, and he's also more of a attacking element, I think, than Chamberlain, though that could be a little bit harsh because I think the Ox was doing really well for us until he got that injury at Roma. So, but yeah, I'd probably say that Mount is most likely to stay at Chelsea right now, but I wouldn't have it off the table that, and this is going to sound bad, but we are his fallback option. Like, if he does not sign a contract with Chelsea, then I think he'll come to Liverpool. I know he was linked to a load of players over the weekend, but as I said in like a live stream over the weekend on another channel, I think that's a load of bollocks. I think that's just his agent coming out, putting pressure on Chelsea to get that new contract offered, basically saying, if you don't want him, there's all these other rivals that will take him off your hands. So let's keep an eye on Mason Mount, but I feel like if we might hear some news on that over the next coming weeks or something, just due to these conversations with Todd Boehly. We'll hear one way or another what's going on with Mason Mount. So sticking on the James Pearce article, he's done an article based on all the other midfielders that Liverpool have been linked with and what type of player they are, how they'd fit into Liverpool, blah, 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 blah. And I don't want to bore you with all of that, but I feel like I just touch on some of them because there's a couple of other names in here that I've not seen as linked with, but, recently anyway, shall I say. So, yeah. The next one is one that a lot of people have been speaking about, is Alexis McAllister. Now, Says he's obviously 24 at Brighton. I've gone through his stats before. It says he's more of a playmaker, and he did sign as a 10. However, after the World Cup, he has formed a strong partnership with Moises Caicedo, another player Liverpool have been linked with, in a double pivot, which is something that Liverpool have moved towards, isn't it, over the past few games. I'm going to see what happens against West Ham before I do my video on the new tactics that Liverpool are doing. But as soon as I see how we do in that game, I think I have a pretty much of an idea of what type of player we're looking for. And Mason Mount and Mac Allister do fit that mould in what I'm kind of thinking now. I can see Mac Allister being a player very much similar to a Gini Wijnaldum, being able to carry the ball, have that goal threat that Wijnaldum did have as well. But obviously because he was transitioned into a deeper role, he still had the ability to work in small spaces, which Mac Allister does. He did it at Argentina at the World Cup. And I think it says here there was like one point where in a game where we drew 3-3 at Brighton, at Anfield, Mac Allister went past Diaz, Thiago, Fabinho, and then Elliott before he got fouled by Milner. And apparently this all happened within 4 seconds, right in Klopp's view from the touchline. So, and again, he draws comparisons there with Gini Wijnaldum, an energetic attacking midfielder by trade who is capable of playing a deeper role. So, I can see this happening here, and it says here basically that if Mac Allister could guarantee the same amount of success as Wijnaldum did in a red shirt, Klopp would certainly shake hands on a deal for now. And it goes on here like to say, is the deal likely? And it says Mac Allister features near the top of Liverpool's list of midfield targets. They are crying out for energy and creativity in that department, and he could provide both. However, there are other top clubs looking at him, including Chelsea, and Liverpool know that agreeing a deal will not be straightforward, with Brighton keen to get maximum value. So there you go, guys, on that one. I've kind of been of the opinion that we will not sign Mac Allister and Caicedo, and I cannot see Brighton selling both Caicedo and Mac Allister. So now I've mentioned Caicedo, let's jump onto him now. So he's younger than Mac Allister, he's 21, and he does play as a more defensive midfielder compared to Mac Allister. Like, as in the double pivot, he would be the one to sit. I've said over many videos now, he reminds me very much of Kante, the way he can just get across the pitch and cover the ground as much as like two people could do, obviously for one. He's very much a committing into challenges, getting position quickly and immediately looking for the forward pass. So he would be someone that Liverpool could come in and just have that destroyer that sits next to Trent, on the other side where Fabinho currently plays right now. And I just think as well that he would be, for me, he is the one that I would go for out of all these if I could get one. I know he's just signed a new contract at Brighton. I know that they turned down, was it 80 million for him from Arsenal in January. So I think he's going to be expensive, guys, in all honesty. And I feel like if we get Caicedo, then you could kiss Bellingham goodbye. But as I've just mentioned, I don't think that Brighton in the first instance would sell Caicedo and Mac Allister in the same window anyway. So let's see which happens one way or another with them two. But yeah, I would love both. If I had to pick one, I would take Caicedo. But as Pearce has rightly pointed out here, Caicedo would cost more than Mac Allister. So let's wait for that one there. Now, he does also touch on Ryan Gravenberch. Now, this is the player that I kind of think is a fallback option. He's a lot cheaper if you were to believe the articles that have come out, around about £25 million. I see him as a potential fallback for Thuram, who I covered in my last video, Mac Allister, Caicedo. Like, if they can't get one of them over the line, then I think Ryan Gravenberch will be done. I think that deal could be done now if needed to be done. I think he's had a poor time at Bayern because he's not been given the chance, but when he was at Ajax, he was so good, guys. And it says here as well, like, he's 6'3", he takes long strides in midfield, controls the ball closely in tight areas. He's very much like a Paul Pogba, but he's arguably more of an impactful ball winner than Pogba. So again, he could be in that double pivot with Trent, sat on the left-hand side, winning the ball back, playing it forward. Again, as I've just covered then, he sounds like, to me, the fallback to if we don't get Mac Allister or if we don't get Caicedo or Thuram, So I'd say if that one gets pushed over the line, we can kiss goodbye to any of the other three, in my opinion. So here, again, we're moving on. He basically mentions a couple of players that we've touched on before previously, like not in a big amount, but one of them is Matheus Nunes. Liverpool went in for him in August, we all know this, turned it down. Apparently there's that clause in his contract at Wolves that basically said that if Liverpool came in and offered 50 million, then he could go to Liverpool this summer. Makes no sense. Why would any team sign a player that's then going to go somewhere else for a fixed rate? If he came into the league, and I know this is talking hypothetically here, as a midfielder, he scored 20 goals in the league, and then we could just get him for 50 million. This doesn't sound like something any decent club would do, does it? And it says here, like, he's had a slow start to his debut season in England, but he has kicked on in recent months and showing he's getting to grips with the Premier League. Now, that might be the reason why that clause was in there. Like, Liverpool are keen on him. I think, Pep Guardiola was very keen on him as well for City. But maybe there was that uncertainty around whether he would be able to fit into the Premier League. But as we see here, he's very much finding his feet these past couple of months. And it does say here at the end that he is also represented by the same agency as a few of our players already in Gestifute, which has Nunes, Jota and Fabinho all as their clients at Liverpool currently. So again, I'd keep an eye on this one. I feel like if we don't get Bellingham or Mount, then Matheus Nunes is the fallback option in that position for me. It's kind of what I'm thinking. Now again, the next player is Conor Gallagher. It's understood Liverpool admire him, but no, it would be hard to get two players out of Chelsea in the same window, with Mount more of a priority, so there you go again. If we don't get Mount, is Gallagher like the fallback there, where I said Liverpool are asking for multiple players from Chelsea? Conor Gallagher is definitely one that we should keep an eye on, as they tried to sell him in January. Again, they need to sell players to make that money back. He almost joined Everton in January, it says here, and they thought he's not changed on him. The price would have to be right. So Conor Gallagher is definitely up for sale this summer. Next one, Bruno Guimaraes. I've butchered that. You know what I mean? The Newcastle player. Now, this signing when he went to Newcastle pissed me off because they only paid 40 million for him and he was on Liverpool's radar at the time. And we were screaming out for a midfielder. And he's gone on to have a really good season this year. And I don't see Newcastle in any way, shape or form selling him. They're about to qualify for the Champions League. Well deserved. Shall I just add that there? He is highly rated here, it says, by the recruitment staff at Liverpool. But if he's that highly rated, why did we not sign him when we went for Tuchemane? We'd have been talking to him before January. So we could have gone and got this kid last year. But failed to do so. So that one's never going to happen, I think, this summer, unless we offer ridiculous money. And I'm talking like 80, 90 million, maybe even more. He's that important to Newcastle, I just can't see him selling him. And then the last one that Pearce touches on here is Yuri Tielemans, who I just don't think has got it to be a Jurgen Klopp Liverpool player. He can't run with the ball, he doesn't have the energy. He doesn't have the energy to get back and win the ball, should I say. Like, he's definitely got the skills with it, to be able to run with it. His passing ability, his free kicks, everything like that, really, really good. But does he really have it to be a Liverpool player? Getting backwards and forwards, does he have that energy? Or would he be another player that Liverpool have to, carry? He's a free transfer, guys, so I wouldn't say it's out of the realms of possibility happening. He's 25 and he probably turning 26 by the end of this season by the looks of this. What would you say about Tielemans? Say, for instance, if we went and signed Caicedo, Bellingham, and then the third one was Tielemans, would you be happy? Or Mason Mount, Matheus Nunes, Tielemans, would you be happy with that three? Let me know down in the comments down below, guys. But yeah, that's pretty much the video, guys. I just didn't know what else to say, really. Out of all these, I would say the unlikeliest ones to happen is Caicedo, Bruno at Newcastle, and probably Yuri Tielemans, because I don't think he fits. They're the three I'd rule out completely. The ones that I think are most likely to happen, Ryan Gravenberch is pretty much, for me, 90% could be done straight away. And then the next one, probably Mason Mount. Like, if he doesn't sign that deal with Chelsea, then I think he's a Liverpool player. And then McAllister, all depends on the price. I wouldn't go more than 60, 70 million for him. But we'll have to wait and see there. And then again, you know, Conor Gallagher and Mateus Nunes, I'd see them as fallback options for the other people that I've already mentioned. So, yeah, that's the video, guys. Let me know down in the comments down below what you think on all this. Give this video a like if you've enjoyed it. And if you are new here, subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with everything else I've got going on. And I'll catch you in the next one.